Hello, everyone. I'm gonna get right to the point here, and bear with me a little bit. But let me tell you about my mother, Madeline Minio. Um, my mother was raped and molested at 12 years old by a family member. By the time she was 15, she hadn't known how many men she had been with. She then married the first man that told her that he loved her. Now, she had two kids with that man, and that man went on to turn out to be a alcoholic abuser that almost killed her several times. One of those children is now almost 60, and today, still to this day, he remembers as a child waking up and seeing a gun to his mother's head. Okay? She survived that. She survived it. And the family took her back in, and she survived. And you know how difficult, and those of you that have, went through that understand how difficult it is to survive something like that. Now, she finally found a man that loved her and her two kids and wanted to take care of her. And actually told her the first night they met that she was going to be his wife. And when that happened, and she in turn finally found the love of her life, her family disowned her because that man just happened to be black. Well, what you call black. There is no such thing as black and white. They just made it up. Um, but either way, regardless, yeah, there's no such thing as black and white. It was just made up. I'm living proof of that because I came out of a white woman, and uh, so I don't even know how I could ever be considered black. You know, that one drop rule stuff, save that. But I'm not here to talk about black pride or white pride or anything like that. I'm here to talk about the rape and molestation of women and children because my mother never recovered from it. And probably most women with a butterfly tattoo will probably attest to that if they tell their truth. So I am here to offer myself to all women to stop the rape, molestation of women and children, the kidnapping and human trafficking of women and children, and to reduce the suicide rate tremendously. Include, our kids are committing suicide at such an alarming rate right now, and it should be scary to us. Now we've shut this country down for COVID, a little virus, okay, but it's for some reason we continue to move on and just, gloss over rape and molestation. But those women rarely, if ever, recover from what happened to them as a child or even as an adult. They just rarely, if ever, recover from that. But those women can still have children, right? They do. They have kids. And, and in my case, I couldn't figure out what was wrong with my mother. I couldn't figure it out without getting into specifics, of what she did and what frustrated me. I'll just say I could not figure out why my mother would be like that, especially when I was there to provide her anything she wanted, anything she needed at the time. So I didn't find out that she was raped and molested at 12 and all those things I mentioned until after she had passed. But she wrote a book, and those details were in the book. But after realizing that, then it just all came together on why my mother was the way she was. But with that said, now is my mother had three children, and yet when she passed, none of us were with her. None of her family was with her. And she died with a man she had just met, a few years prior. And so I can't forgive myself for uh, losing the attachment to my first love, my mother. And I had to figure out why. How could that possibly happen? And I did figure it out. There's many layers. When I just said you're not white and you're not black, that's one of the reasons. You know, what this is in our head is the same in all of us. If you're listening to me in there, the way you think, your thoughts, the source of your thoughts, I would say, is your soul. Okay? And we all, every last one of us in a human body, if you came out of a woman and you had a childhood, I'm speaking to you. We all have that same thing in our head. And at one time, in order to explain it, someone called it God and wrote a book about it. Just like over in the Middle East, someone called it Allah and wrote a book about it. You know how everybody says there's no manual how to raise kids and there's no... Yes, there is. Now, I am not giving an endorsement for the Christians, but I must stay true to myself on how I figured out everything that I'm going to tell you. And it was, like through God, so to speak. So atheists, bear with me. Remember, because you might just call it a brain or, your soul, whatever. Whatever you want to call this in your head or, because if I asked you to explain to someone what your soul is, you'd have to search for a lot of words and try to explain it through a story and everything like that, aka the Bible. Now, what I'm telling you again is God is that voice in your head. So by the definition of the Christians themselves, you are God, I am God, everyone is God. And by the definition of the Muslims themselves in Islam, you are Allah, I am Allah, and everyone is Allah. But it's the same thing. And the Jews, they got it right. You don't want to give it a name. Okay? You don't want to name it because then you can be trapped with that said name, whatever the name is. Because, again, by definition, even if you're an atheist, but by definition of what they are, you are God. You are considered God. And because if you have thoughts in your head, if you were born out of a woman and you had a childhood, they would consider you God. All right? So I'm God, but I ain't God. God and our creator is two different things. And I would say I'm Allah, but I'm not Allah. I'm not the God. I am not, on how they explain it themselves. And like I said, the Jews had it right. They go by Yahweh, you and we. Because if you always focus on you and we, you won't go wrong. Your me should not be important. Your me should never be at the expense of you and we. And if you go by that, you'll never have that many problems. Hence the Jews. You see, the Jews have all the money and the Jews this, Jews that, But even themselves, they're Jewish. They're Jewish. Just like you might be white-ish or black-ish, but you ain't white, you ain't black. There's nothing white about your skin, and there's nothing black about theirs. Okay? They made it up just to categorize us, and we can get into that further and everything, but I'm here focused on the rape, molestation of women and children, the kidnapping and human trafficking of women and children and even adults, and suicide rates and false imprisonments. All I need for you to do is care about that. And I promise you, there will not be one preacher, priest, rabbi, whatever piece of the Christian religion that could stand before me and tell me I'm wrong. Just like there won't be any imam or any representative of Islam that could tell me that I'm wrong. Just like there won't be any Jewish rabbi or any representative of the Jewish community that will be able to stand in front of me and tell me I'm wrong. With reason and logic. You could just say, hey, you're wrong, just like some of you want to believe you're white. So what? But you're not white. You're not. Even when I was a child, they were considered Irish, Polish, Italian, and now all of a sudden you're just white. But yet, everyone that came, every nationality that came over from another country suffered the same problems as the blacks do. But we can get in that later as well. We can get into all that. But what I'm offering you is a immediate stop to rape, molestation of women and children, kidnapping, human trafficking, and suicides and false imprisonments. And I'm talking immediate end. Okay? Uh, Now, here's some, I'll just say, no matter what, at this point, no matter what you believe or how you feel about it, if you cannot bring me a psychologist, priest, rabbis, or anyone to give you an alternative of what I'm trying to say, or to doubt me, tell me I'm lying, or I'm misinformed, because I accept anyone. If you came out of a woman and had a childhood, I'm speaking to you. Okay? If you didn't come out of a woman and you didn't have a childhood, you were never a child before, then I'm not speaking to you. But give me the benefit of the doubt if no one can come before me and tell me or tell you that I'm lying or that I'm crazy. Okay? I'll stand in front of any psychologist. But the only terms is that it has to be in an open forum. And every psychologist must say what they're factoring in to determine a condition I may or may not have. I don't care if it's split personality, bipolar. Bipolar is like the horoscope. You know, when you read the symptoms of bipolar, it just sounds like every human being to me. Just like you can switch around the horoscope. If you switch the Taurus with the Virgo, and you let all the Virgos read the Taurus, but not knowing it's Taurus, they'll be like, oh yeah, that's me, right? Just like when you're in church, you always feel like the priest is talking to you. The sermon is about you. Why? Because it is. Okay, because God is what we are. Our Creator is something different. Okay, but when nothing could last this thousands of years unless it was true, the Quran or the Bible. Okay, and why is it true? Because it's talking about this, what we truly are, before you even in this body. I mean, we don't get to pick our parents, so where we pop up and what time period we pop up, we don't control. We have no control over that. You know, whether I can, and I just happen to be born in America. I just happen to have been programmed with God. You know, I just happened to speak English. You know, those things. Just like if I was in the Middle East, it would. I just happened to be raised in Saudi Arabia. I just happened to be speaking Arabic. I would be just happening to be raised with Allah. Okay, and again, the Jews knew better not to name it. They just go with Yahweh, which is you and we. Okay? Now, bring me someone before you doubt me and before you say, nah, I don't care about rape and molestation of women and children and kidnapping and suicides and all that, human trafficking. Before you just brush that off, put someone in front of me to tell me that is not the case. And I'll give you hey, no one told me this. No one told me that. I don't represent any group of people. It's just me. So I'm easy to find, which also makes me easy to kill. I do not speak anything but the truth. But I live the life just like everyone. So Christians, Muslims, and I'm not proclaiming to be the ultimate creator, or I'm not even claiming to be God. I mean, by your definition, yeah, I'm God, but I ain't God, you know? So if you guys want, you ladies, all I need is the ladies. But I'm begging for the men to also come, but all I need is the woman. I will stand and fight for you. I offer you my life. And I will not fail. Okay? I will, when I'm mentioning priests and rabbis and psychologists, you notice I didn't mention politicians. Because politicians They should know better not to try this shit with me. You cannot double talk me. You cannot use false reasoning with me. That's why I offer everything to be in a public forum. All right? When they say the revolution will be televised, I think this will be televised. Because if the Jews, the true Jews, want to clean up their house, this is how we do it. Just like if the true Christians want to clean up their house and the true people of Islam want to clean up their house. The same process. Because the leaders of the house, you know what they're going to have? That. Whatever that is. Whatever you want to call it. Atheist, just call it your brain. You call it your brain. But it doesn't change anything. Your brain works like that. So all I'm asking you to do is give me the benefit of doubt. And all I need you to do is care about women being raped and molested and human trafficking and kids committing suicide, false imprisonments, in the such. That's all I need you to do is care about. And then come tell me where to meet y'all. Tell me where to meet and we'll fix this. This is one of many videos. This is my introduction. I'm here.